days, my entire For You page has been about the tragedy that happened on Rinjani
Yeah.
and the woman from Brazil, Juliana, who passed away because she fell into, I believe, the crater or where all of the sand is on the top, all of the
Wah.
volcanic sand, and she wasn't able to be retrieved. And there's a lot of blame being put on
Yeah.
the rescue team without considering the circumstances of Ranjani and the terrain and the difficulty of completing a rescue mission
Benar,
on
benar.
an active volcano and how nearly impossible that can be. Combined with her clear lack of hiking skill, and this is by no means to disrespect her, it's really, really crucial as a tourist that if you choose to do a hike, even if people complain the tour guides all they want, and they say, oh, but everywhere in Lombok and everywhere in Indonesia, you see
Yeah.
advertisements, hike Rinjani, hike Rinjani, hike Rinjani.
Yeah.
But it's your job to research things yourself. You cannot rely on a guide company who's trying to make a living to tell you if you're fit to do something or not. They don't know you.
Okay.
They don't know your life experience. They don't know your skill level. Could they be asking more questions to better vet people to decide if they should be allowed to go up Rinjani? Sure. Absolutely. But you shouldn't hike an active volcano if you're not an experienced hiker. I've
Benar.
lived in Indo for 6 years. I've been invited by
Oh.
people to hike Rinjani many times. I won't do it because I'm not a hiker. I
Guys, ini adalah pengakuan cewek bule ini mengatakan bukan dia tidak menghormati atas pemergian iaitu Juliana itu di Rinjani itu. Dia menghormati, cuma dia kata untuk kita melakukan untuk aktivitas yang ekstrim, mendaki ataupun hiking Gunung Rinjani itu memerlukan stamina yang harus kuat, harus mental yang kuat, persiapan yang cukup rapi, baru kita boleh untuk menakluk Rinjani itu bukannya untuk suka-suka kita. Kita lihat orang lain di medsos ataupun orang letak di medsos, aku sudah menakluk Rinjani, Gunung Rinjani, aku sudah mendaki Gunung Rinjani, kita mengikut trend. Bukan begitu. Kita harusnya berfikir, adakah aku mampu untuk melakukan perkara itu? Kerana kita tahu Rinjani itu bukannya gunung seperti gunung Talitabis yang mudah untuk ditawan. Ini Rinjani, guys.
struggle going up to a small peak. I don't really enjoy hiking. It's not something I've tried to excel at and succeed with in my life. And when I
Yeah.
saw how slippery it is
Yeah.
towards the peak of Ranjani due to the sand, I know myself and I know how clumsy I am, and I know I would roll down that shit and you would never find me again. And that's just reality. So yes, there does need to be probably a regulation change in who is allowed to hike these places. But what happened to individual responsibility for
Yeah.
our own choices and actions, and also recognizing risk? Because most of the time,
Yeah.
if you do any high risk activity anywhere in
Yeah.
the world, especially in the Western world, if that's what we're talking about, Western standards, you're going to have to sign something
Ya,
that says
benar.
that they're not responsible for your
Ya,
life.
benar-benar.
You are.
Ya, benar guys. Katanya untuk kita mendaki gunung ataupun apa saja kita sudah sign, maksudnya di bawah gunung itu lagi maksudnya kita sudah tanda tangan sign untuk apa saja yang berlaku pada diri kita adalah atas tanggungjawab ataupun atas tanggungan diri kita sendiri untuk mengatakan kita mampu untuk tanggung segala masalah yang berlaku pada diri kita nanti apabila kita sudah mendaki gunung
You are responsible for your life. And people saying, well, she was left behind and this, that. If you're choosing to hike in a group, because there's probably an option to get a private guide for a higher
benar.
price point, or to get a group guide, right? If you know that you are not an experienced hiker and you really want to go up Rinjani, then you should probably hire a private guide.
Ya,
Not join a
benar.
hiking group of people who probably have a pretty decent
Ya, betul guys. Kalau kita rasa kita tidak mampu kita ada kemampuan untuk membayar untuk private punya pemandu turis untuk mendaki Gunung Rinjani itu seharusnya kita bayar private punya maksudnya yang perseorangan untuk mengawal kita, bukannya kita mengikut grup untuk mendaki Gunung Rinjani itu.
level of hiking experience and are able to complete the summit. If you hire a private guide and you need to take a rest, your guide can stand by you. But what is the guide supposed to do if they have, let's say, a group of 5 or 10 people and one person isn't feeling well? You either have to push through and stick with the group, or you get
Yeah.
left behind. And I know they say you're not supposed to leave anybody behind on a hike, but You're also not supposed to hike if you're not prepared to hike.
Benar, benar.
That's just how hiking works. I saw that her
Yeah.
family was calling for, they were shocked that Rinjani wasn't closed down because of their daughter's passing. And while I have so much respect for their grief and what they're probably experiencing and the shock they're going through right now, that's unfair. To close an entire mountain down because
Benar.
of one person's irresponsibility. That's not fair.
Betul. Tidak mungkin untuk ditutup Gunung Rinjani itu atas sebab engkau seorang saja yang ada masalah di Gunung Rinjani. Kita sama-sama bersedih sebenarnya ya atas pemergian Juliana itu di Gunung Rinjani. Cuma di sini cewek ini mengingatkan kalau kita tidak ada pengalaman, kalau kita belum lagi hebat di dalam pendakian gunung, jangan kita cuba-cuba untuk mendaki gunung yang benar-benar ekstrim seperti Rinjani itu ya.
That's people's livelihood, and it's a beautiful place that a lot of people
Yeah.
come to Indonesia just for that. And now maybe they've trained for it for a really long time. Maybe they spend a long time summiting smaller peaks to prepare for that hike. And now
Yeah,
they're supposed to close it down because of one person's irresponsibility. And once again, I don't want to disrespect her in any way, but we need to use this opportunity to really take a moment to anywhere in the world and any activity that you're doing when you're on holiday, consider your skill level.
Ya.
I see it all the time with surfing. My partner has a surf school here in Bali, and he's very, very, very adamant that if people don't have a high skill level in swimming, or if they have fears around the ocean, they need to book a private lesson. Because
Benar.
people will want to be cheap and save 200K and book a group, and then they're miserable and they can't get back to the lineup and they're flapping around and freaking out. Is that the coach's fault? No, it's your fault for being cheap.
Ya.
Active volcanoes are not photo ops in general. There was an instance just a few months back. I think it was Agung. Somebody died on Agung because they tried to go up without a guide, probably trying to save money, and they died. And then Balinese people had to have so much ceremony, bring so much bantan, do so many offerings, because somebody irresponsibly died on their sacred mountain.
Allahu Akbar.
Accountability matters. It's extremely cloudy up there. If we're coming back to Rinjani, to cycle back to it one more time, it's extremely cloudy, very hard to send helicopters in.
Yeah.
Nobody can go down that to retrieve somebody. If they send a rope down, there's no way for them to grip in because they're on sand. There's so many circumstances. So to repetitively disrespect the extremely skilled team that tried to rescue her is not necessary to honor her life. We mustn't blame people who have trained their entire lives for this. Indonesian hikers don't play games. So for you to act like they don't have the skill set, and in this country they can do this, and in this country they can do that, then you don't know Indonesian hikers.
Benar
They're
juga guys.
extremely good at their craft, and they're very, 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 very skilled at mountaineering. I mean, Indonesian hikers will hike in flip-flops and live off of pot meat. And not to say that that's the way that you should hike, but I'm saying don't act like they don't know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
Has fallen off Mount Rinjani at like 5 a.m. and honestly the news has like sent shivers down my
Dia
spine.
merinding, eh?
Me and Gaz did that hike. I think it was summer last year.
Mental, wasn't it? It was like next level dangerous.
Wow,
Where
wow,
It
wow.
was like hundreds of people doing it, and like we turned around because we didn't feel safe.
Yeah.
Loads of people were like, "What are you doing? Just keep going." And it was like so windy on
It was
top of
so
the ridge.
cold. It was like the coldest. I felt like I couldn't think straight because I was so cold. Obviously the altitude, like no one even talks about altitude sickness with that hike. You're so high up. It's like 3,500 meters
Yeah,
above sea
yeah.
level. Like the altitude, the cold. You've already hiked 7 hours the day before, and you get up at 1 a.m. to do the summit hike, which is another 4 hours up a steep incline in the dark. No
yeah.
one's thinking clearly.
I think
Benar.
if you're a professional climber, you're probably listening to this and be like, "Oh yeah, that's normal." It is normal for professional climbers, but
Benar.
this was essentially just like a load of backpackers and tourists wearing trainers doing it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think like when we did it, we were like, why is there not more information out there saying like how hard it is? Because all you ever see online is just all these people summiting Mount Rinjani. So when we watched all of these videos on YouTube and we did our research, we were like, they look like us, we'll give it a go. And then obviously it puts your life at risk when you do stuff like that because you don't realise how dangerous it is. There should be more.
Goes to show though, if when you're backpacking, if someone you don't feel comfortable doing something, just turn around, don't do it because yeah, the safety's not always there, is it?
No, it's just so scary. I feel like, I just really hope she's found safe and like thoughts with her family because when I saw that, I just felt sick. I just knew exactly what it would be like to fall down. Just a horrible, horrible news story. And if you're watching this and think about doing Mount Rinjani, only if you're an experienced climber should you be doing it really. Like, don't do what we did and think, how hard can it be? Just take the risks into account and
Ya, benar ya.
Yeah, one thing I say.
Okey guys, ini adalah kata-kata daripada dua orang bule guys mengatakan jika anda belum lagi seorang profesional dan rasa kekuatan, stamina ya, mental belum kuat lagi, jangan cuba-cuba untuk mendaki Gunung Rinjani itu karena kita tahu dia bukan gunung seperti gunung biasa ya guys ya. Dia dipenuhi dengan pasir, batu-batu kecil yang halus dan mudah untuk berlakunya sesuatu yang tidak diingini ya.
It's not the worst part of the trip. It's the most challenging and the most rewarding. But it's nice to actually do it this way because you do the summit and then we've got a few more days after this where we're then sharing in that glory with each other. And then, learning some new skills, doing some amazing stuff. But usually it's the summit at the end. I think this is great. You do the summit at the start and then you've got all that time to actually share in the... that shared glory of doing something together and that bonding connection, which will then complement the next few days.
Absolutely.
We're going to be learning some skills like some really awesome tools to take away, such as navigation, trauma, medical procedures, so really essential stuff that you can use anywhere in the world.
Okey, seperti yang kita reactionkan tadi, kita lihat iaitu kasus turis asal Brazil yang meninggal saat mendaki Gunung Rinjani bikin heboh di media sosial. Banyak netizen Brazil langsung marah-marah, kita lihat, kasih rating iaitu bintang 1 ke Rinjani dan ngomong seolah-olah kita melihat Rinjani itu tempat berbahaya banget. Jadi kelakuan kayak gini guys, jelas enggak adil lah bagi saya kerana itu netizen Indonesia juga enggak tinggal diam. Apa yang mereka lakukan? Mereka balas kasih rating 1 ke hutan Amazon sebagai bentuk protes juga guys untuk Brazil ya. Jadi di sebalik perang rating itu ada juga komentar daripada dari turis dan bule yang pernah naik ke Rinjani. Banyak daripada mereka bilang kalau Rinjani itu memang bukan gunung yang gampang ya. Itu yang dikatakan oleh mereka tadi yang kita reactionkan karena jalurnya berat. Cuacanya bisa berubah drastis dan butuh persiapan yang matang sebelum mendaki. Kalau masih permula dan belum punya pengalaman naik gunung, sebaiknya fikir ulang dulu sebelum coba-coba untuk mendaki Gunung Rinjani itu. Jadi intinya sekarang guys, kejadian ini harusnya jadi pelajaran. Jangan gampang nyalahin tempat kalau belum ngerti situasi sebenarnya. Kadang-kadang masalahnya bukan tempat wisatanya, bukan Gunung Rinjani itu, tetapi daripada kurangnya persiapan kita sendiri. Jadi pas travelling apalagi naik gunung ya. Jadi keselamatan harus diprioritas utama, hargai tempat yang didatangi. Pahami tantangannya dulu, baru kita bisa untuk coba untuk mendaki ataupun menjelajah tempat itu ya. Dan jangan asal kritik kalau belum tahu kondisi aslinya guys. Itu yang kita sebenarnya marahkan. Bukan kita tidak menghormati permergian Juliana. Kita tetap menghormati guys. Kita tetap menghormati apa yang sudah berlaku ini. Tetapi jangan harus ataupun jangan netizennya terus untuk marah, untuk terus menyerang iaitu Presiden Pak Prabowo di medsos ya. Tidak bagus seperti itu. Bagi saya salah. Bukan salah Bapak Presiden. Dan bukan salah Gunung Rinjani itu. Gunung tidak pernah salah. Yang salahnya adalah diri kita. Kerana kita tidak melakukan persiapan yang lebih untuk diri kita. Persiapan mental, fizikal. Sebelum kita untuk mencuba melakukan perkara-perkara yang ekstrim. Dan begitu juga saya mengingatkan diri saya juga. Jangan cuba-cuba untuk melakukan perkara yang ekstrim. Kalau diri saya sendiri belum bersiap dengan apa yang saya mahu lakukan. Jadi begitu juga dengan anda semua ya guys ya. Jadi bagaimana guys pandangan teman-teman tentang video yang kita reactionkan tadi? Teman-teman bisa komen di bawah komentar. Rasanya sampai di sini saja untuk reaction kita kali ini. Apapun saya ucapkan terima kasih kepada anda yang sentiasa mendukung Brozu Channel daripada dulu hingga sekarang. Dan bagi teman-teman yang baru saja hadir, jangan lupa klik butang subscribe dan klik tombol loceng. Tanda dukungan teman-teman kepada Brozu Channel. Yang baik semuanya datang daripada Allah SWT. Yang salah dan silap datangnya daripada saya sendiri. Assalamualaikum. Goodbye. Bye-bye.